Rot surrounding housing project runs deep. A closing chapter for one of the voices of the nation. Survivors arrive in Port Moresby.
This is National EMTV News with Mary Bartulo.
Welcome to Saturday's news. Thanks for joining us. It's a housing project worth millions of kina, but the rot surrounding the National Agriculture Quarantine Inspection Authority, or NAQIA, housing project runs deep. Investigations have commenced, but results are yet to be made known.
In September last year, all independent investigations by NAQIA into the failed housing project were closed and handed over to the National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Directorate. To date, there is still nothing to show for, leaving staff wondering if investigations have actually commenced. It is understood an office would be set up within NAQIA specifically to look into the alleged misuse of funds, but that has not been the case. The project runs into the millions. According to contract documents, 2.7 million kina was allocated to construct the houses. But there are a number of players that are profiting from this housing scheme, costing NAQIA a substantial amount of money. The housing project is the first for NAQIA, approved by the NAQIA board in June 2011. Following that, a contract agreement was signed in May 2012 with Lens Investment Limited to build 9 three-bedroom houses. The houses were to be completed within 6 months, but that has taken longer than expected. However, work has ceased on the project, leaving it incomplete with no tenants. Attempts to contact the acting managing director, Joel Alu, for comments were unsuccessful. Mickey Kavera, National EMTV News.
Popular Papua New Guinean radio personality Justin Kili passed away this morning at the St. Mary's Vunapope Hospital in East New Britain Province. News of his death shocked the country, many sending condolence messages on social media. Kili, or JK as he was more popularly known, became a household name in radio starting out in the late 70s. He died at the age of 61.
The media industry in Papua New Guinea is mourning the death of well-known personality Justin Hansu Kili. It is his voice on radio that the legend JK was well known for, beginning in the late 1970s. From Lemanmanu village of Boka in the autonomous region of Bougainville, JK was the man behind the microphone that gave taste to Papua New Guinea's airwaves. Listeners followed him throughout programs whenever he was on air. His last public appearance was at the Arapa Airport reopening last month. Many were surprised to see and hear this well-known, long-lost voice of Papua New Guinea after the National Airports Corporation contracted him to be the master of ceremony.
Ikam tok long on line lo Bougainville where even call him all brata.
His radio personality brands well as a joker. He cracked a joke that made Prime Minister Peter O'Neill and the government delegation laugh and smile throughout the event.
Sun because lo night sun in hot.
The family of the late Kili in the autonomous region of Bougainville and East New Britain Province confirmed he was sick and hospitalized. However, details of the actual cause of his death are yet to be revealed. Social media was flooded with condolence messages that described the late JK as a dedicated and loyal man in his call of duties to the media industry and other areas he served. The late Justin Hansu Kili died at the age of 61 and is survived by 8 children, including 11 grandchildren. Fabian Hakalitz, National EMTV News.
The body of a middle-aged woman was taken to Lays Engau Hospital this morning after she was found deep in the swamps of 5 Mile. The grandmother of 2 was abducted, raped and killed by her kidnappers. Her body was retrieved by police this morning and taken to the morgue. Police have called on the community to hand over those responsible. Bethany Harriman reports from Lay.
Her body arrived at Lays Engau morgue accompanied by her relatives. The grandmother, now laying dead, wrapped up in cloth, suffers from a mental condition that took her far from home. The husband, still shocked, looking on with his wife's brother. Simon Banan explains that she is his half-sister. The husband and other family members were all at the morgue. It's understood that police have called on the 5 Mile community to hand over those responsible. The grandmother leaves behind her husband and 2 grandchildren. Her relatives from Buang in the Bulolo district have agreed for police to investigate, but they are appalled by how she was abducted, raped and then killed.
Community lo 5 Mile to cooperate on the police for to call by tram helping lo find installment. Sana this time passing now and so more Mary. Your man no kono mo find passing on Mary. All Mary all stop na your man stop.
Bethany Harriman, National MTV News, Ley.
A woman was raped and killed last night at 6 Mile in Port Moresby. Her body was discovered by a resident this morning, lying under a tree just a few meters away from the fence of Balo Industries. Residents who found the body said the woman is believed to be in her late 20s. Witnesses said she had her clothes stripped, she was raped and then stabbed multiple times. Police and St. John's ambulance staff assessed the killing and took the body to the morgue at around midday. 6 Mile police are appealing to residents to come forward with any information that can assist them with their investigations. Among other stories after the break, the successful rescue mission for 7 people missing at sea. Welcome back to the news. After 9 nights of sleeping out in makeshift tents at Leys Igam Army Barracks Gate, the grandchildren of a deceased ex-serviceman are now suffering from suspected pneumonia. Yesterday, the 4 grandchildren of widow Bertha Apu were taken to the 10th City Health Post, the youngest, nearly 5 years old, suffering from diarrhea and drinking creek water. MTV's Bethany Harriman talked to the children's mother at the health post.
It's been raining for the last 3 days in Ley, and the families of the ex-soldiers still camped outside Leys Igam Barracks are doing it tough. This tent, which houses Bertha Apu, shows signs of repairs after the rain threatened to enter where they sleep. Bertha Apu, in a previous interview, had said she wanted to go back to her village before any of her family got sick.
Me marry lo place, me no marry lo town.
Health problems have already risen, and it has hit the most vulnerable, her grandchildren. Today they are going to the 10 City Health Post for checkups. It's several kilometers away from the barracks clinic, but since their eviction they have decided to go to the 10 City Health Post instead. The 4 children have lost weight. Inside, the familiar long line of patients waiting for treatment. But when they see the nurse at the health post, he explains that the 4 children are sick. But what's worrying the mother is her 5-year-old daughter is the most ill. Similar illnesses will also face children in other evicted families who have moved onto land in growing settlements around Igam. Bertha Esther and her children were part of the group of 18 families evicted from Leys Igam Army Barracks 9 days ago when they were waiting for their father's outstanding entitlements. Bethany Harriman, National MTV News, Ley.
The call for a financial audit on the Goilala District Administration has been welcomed by the Office of the MP, Daniel Mona. After reports in the dailies on the misuse of funds, Goilala District Administrator Jimmy Aniawa and Executive Officer Hoko Asi, on behalf of the MP, said the disbursements of financial transactions were solely authorized by the MP Daniel Mona and the JDP-BPC committees. Aniawa said there were no misuse of funds in the office of the MP and has called on the Central Provincial Administration to come out clear and submit evidence of misuse. He is appealing to the people of Goilala to put their propaganda aside and work together with the office of the MP. Creating avenues for school dropouts to get back into the education system is a way forward for students. Principal of the Pacific Arts and Technical Institute, Norbert Rami, revealed this recently while preparing the school's enrollments for the 2015 year.
The principal and staff of Pacific Arts and Technical Institute believe that increasing number of dropouts from primary and secondary schools in Papua New Guinea is a growing concern. Despite the government's attention on prioritizing tuition fee-free education, the increasing number of dropouts has not been addressed. But many non-government institutions are concerned to help and build human capital in Papua New Guinea. Principal Norbert Kambi says the school is proud to give second chance to grade 8 and grade 10 dropouts from formal education system.
We want to re-enroll them because we want them to have the knowledge, the skill and the art of living. That is very important. They have to survive. They have to survive. They have to live a meaningful life contributing back to society and developing the country. We want the government to build our facilities, for example, laboratories, buildings, and provide us with the technical machinery.
The director of the school, Jacob Baker, says the school is newly established and with the support from highly qualified teachers, they are prepared to drive and equip students with much needed skills and knowledge to build stronger national human resource.
Our institution is new. It may be new, but the people behind the wheels are not new.
The technical courses provide opportunities for direct employment, while academic aspect is where grade 8 and 10 school dropouts continue their academic careers to grade 12. Jacob Niru, National EMTV News.
The Life PNG Care back-to-school orientation saw a total of 40 orphans and homeless children in the nation's capital of Port Moresby given a chance to education. This will be done through the organization's Strong in Pikinini education program.
As the capital city continues to grow, Port Moresby has unique social problems. Homelessness and unattached life of a street child is an emerging occurrence in Papua New Guinea urban centers. Life PNG Care organization has been established for one purpose: to make a positive impact in the lives of disadvantaged and vulnerable children and youth of PNG.
Life PNG Care purposely exists to support those underprivileged children. And we believe in a child's potential. That's why our vision is motivated by what we believe and stand.
Mr. Parker said that last year, 17 orphans and homeless children were sent to school through the Strong in Pikinini education program. This year, the Life PNG Care will be enrolling 40 vulnerable children in school with the help of few business houses.
Thank you for our supporters and partners who are also sponsoring these kids to go to school. We have ExxonMobil, we've got PNG Tribal Foundation, who is our longest partner, and also we thank you for Big Rooster for also hosting our Kina of Kindness charity donation.
Mr. Parker, with the help of his wife, 2 children and volunteers, continue to give love, hope and care to these vulnerable and neglected children. Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News.
A month-old baby was among the second group of survivors rescued by another Octedi vessel and brought to Port Moresby today. They were part of the 12 passengers who departed Baimuru in Gulf Province earlier this week for Daru but went missing at sea. They were rescued by Octedi's shipping vessel MV Fly Prosperity.
This 1 month, 3 weeks old baby was among 9 survivors who arrived in Port Moresby this afternoon. The baby survived the harsh conditions out in open sea for 6 days and 5 nights. The parents are public servants in Daru. His father, Abel Diani, is the health inspector for South Fly District, and Mother Bernadette, who hails from East Sepik Province, is a nursing officer. Both said it's tough looking after the baby in open sea, but glad they were rescued.
6 days, 5 nights. Quite very difficult, but we managed somehow.
It's really hard to live with this type of thing.
They were part of the passengers who left Baimuru in Gulf Province for Daru and were reported missing earlier this week. The first group of survivors were rescued by Octedis shipping vessel MV Fly Alliance and brought in on Tuesday. The second group were rescued by another Octedis vessel MV Fly Prosperity.
Basically their boat, they ran out of the fuel and they got some engine problems, so they lost their way basically. And they were at sea from past 5 days, these people, and without any food or anything. So ship's people, the master and the team, they did a very good job.
They were now under the care of the National Disaster Center. They will go through medical checks and later repatriated back to Daru.
So after we interview them in the office, we'll take them to the accommodation lodge, and probably we'll organize for a medical guy to come and do a medical check, and then we will allow them to stay while we sort out the repatriation arrangements.
The National Weather Department has warned small vessels to take extra precautions when traveling out at sea. Quintan Alomp, National EMTV News.
Trukai Sports after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. According to Rafael Nadal, he has no chance of winning the Australian Open. But it's a different story for longtime rival Roger Federer, who has sent shivers through Melbourne today, claiming he's playing the best tennis of his career.
Today was all about the kids, with a few legends and giant mascots thrown in for good measure. The fan favourite, Roger Federer.
Even though he's old, he's still going and he's winning lots of tournaments.
Chasing an incredible 18th Grand Slam title, the Swiss master says he's playing better than ever.
I think I'm serving more consistent and stronger than I ever have. It's my opinion.
At the other end of the scale, in his opinion, Rafa Nadal.
What's going well for you at the moment?
Nothing.
Maria Sharapova is already a winner this year. The Brisbane International, a confidence booster, but nothing more.
I'm not going into next week, throwing flowers at myself or anything. I'm starting from scratch. I'm hungry.
The runner-up in Brisbane, Anna Ivanovic, is focused on having fun.
I really want to focus on my game and what I have to do out there on the court and to enjoy every match, because I know if I do that, the results take care of themselves.
Chasing her 6th Australian Open crown, Serena Williams making her intentions fairly clear.
I want it, I think, more than anyone else here, but that doesn't mean I'm going to get it.
She'll have to beat 7 opponents to hold up the trophy and deal with the Melbourne heat. Her coping mechanism?
Stay out of it. Sorry, I've lost it, so I think that's a wrap.
Before the Open begins on Monday, the Sydney International Trophy up for grabs tonight. Viktor Troicki will play Mikhail Kukushkin in the men's, while Petra Kvitova will head to Melbourne with a big crystal bowl after taking out the women's title over Karolina Pliskova.
Kvitova is the champion.
And that ends our sports segment. The weather details when we come back.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather information is brought to you by Tablebirds.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region, Port Moresby, Kerma, Alotau and Popondetta, you can expect fine weather. In the Bomasa region, Lae, Medang and Wewak, you can expect fine weather also. In the New Guinea Islands, a shower or two for Lorengau. And in the Highlands region, all centres, isolated showers, then scattered morning fog. And that's where we end today's bulletin this Saturday, the 17th of January 2015. From the news team, I'm Maribel Tulo. Bye for now.